Hello and welcome to this video. I welcome you to this channel. If this is your first time in this channel, consider subscribing. You hit the subscribe button at the bottom of your screen so that when I upload another video, you can get a notification, and as such, you'll not be left out in the revision. So in this video is revision and predictions about calculation of area of regular and irregular shaped features on a map. There's also climate and settlement or population distribution on a map. So we shall cover those three areas in this video. So welcome with me as we move along. So the first prediction is calculate the area of a beef ranch, a town, a farm, etc. So basically we are saying you can be given a feature on a map and then you're asked to find area. So area will be worked out in two ways, depending on the shape of the feature that you are given on the map. We have regular shapes and irregular shapes. So we shall have a way of working out area of regular shapes and ways of working out area of irregular shaped features on a map. So one, to calculate. So calculating areas of regular shapes, that's what we are going to start with. To calculate the area of regular shapes like rectangles, squares, or right-angle triangles, we apply the formula used in mathematics. The scale should be used in working out the length and the width before they are multiplied. Then the answer is given in square kilometers. So basically, this is what you do for regular shapes. For regular shapes, you have to know that from your mathematics, the regular shapes are rectangles, squares, right angle triangle. You can also have a trapezium and the like, or the circle. So what we do in this case, calculating area of regular shapes, that is a feature that has got a regular shape. We apply the formula that is used in mathematics. So the scale at the bottom of the map, the scale is found at the bottom of the map, should be used in working out the length and the width before they are multiplied. The answer is given in kilometers. That will be your answer when you work it out. So when we look at here, these are examples of shapes. These are illustrations of shapes that we use that can be seen on a map in case a question is tested. So we have like rectangle. A rectangle looks like this. It has got length and width. Area of a rectangle is length times width. If it's a square, if the shape or the feature takes the shape of a square, this is how the square will look like, that all sides are equal. That's a property of square. So here, the area will be side times side. If it's a triangle shaped feature, triangular shaped feature, or something close to triangle that you can be able to identify that this is a right angle triangle. We're talking about a right angle triangle. So the area will be half base times height. That's a common formula that we know for mathematics. You can also have a feature taking the shape of a trapezium. So the trapezium finding area is a half into a plus b times height. So when you do that, you will have worked out the area. Now, when you measure, take your paper and measure along the length if it's a rectangle, like we were doing when we were talking about measuring the distance from point A to point B by using a paper. So an edge of a paper. So you take an edge of a paper, mark the starting point, and put it on the starting point of the rectangular shaped feature, and then you go up to where it reaches, make a mark. Then go to the scale, take a reading, write it somewhere. Next, you come to the width. The width, you do the same, measure using the paper, take the reading, take the distance from here to there, then take it to the scale, then starting from 0 on the scale, identify or read the measurement of this. After you've done that, work out using the formula, area is equal to length times width. The same applies to these other features that may take the shapes of regular shapes. So when you do that, you'll be able to find the area of a feature with a regular shape. Now, to work out the area, the following steps are followed. Now, this one, it applies for the irregular. This one applies for the irregular. What you have done here applies to the irregular. So what do? The first thing, divide the map. If it takes an irregular shape, if the feature takes an irregular shape like this one now, this is Pura Island. Pura Island does not have a definite shape. So this one is called irregular shape. So how do you find area of a feature that takes the shape of, irregular shape? 1, divide the map into grids of squares of 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. Since the scale of the map is 1 centimeter, represents 1 kilometer. This means that each square on the map represents 1 square kilometer on land. So when you draw the squares, make sure you use a ruler, a straight ruler, then draw, making grids. The grids are these boxes. These boxes are the ones that we refer to as the grid or the squares. So they should be from here up to here, it should be 1 centimeter. From here up to here, it should be 1 centimeter. So 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter, it will be 1 square centimeter, which is equal to 1 square kilometer on land, which is the actual measurement. So when you make the drawing, the lines like this, you made the grids all through, the ones going down, that is the vertical, and the ones that are horizontal. After you finish, now you start counting the squares that are covered by the feature. So how do you count? Number 2, count all the full squares covered by the island. Cover all full. We are talking of full squares. Full squares. So the full squares are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Then write it somewhere. That is 15 full squares. So that is the first step in doing that. The other step, that is number 3, count all the partly covered squares. Count all the partly covered squares, however small. So as half squares. You count the partly covered squares as half squares and add all of them up and multiply the figure by a half. That is, if we count the full, the partly covered, I mean. So like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. We had started from here. So these are 23 partly covered squares of Pura Island. So what you get after counting, multiply by a half. Or in other words, divide by 2. If that one can be easier for you, it means the same thing. 23 times half or 23 divided by 2. That is applies for this one. There are 23. So that is your answer you'll get there. Now, after doing that, step 4. Add up all the full squares and the figure obtained from the part squares. And then according to figure this one, 1.9, that's about calculating area of irregular surfaces. So what you do of the area of the island. So what you do, that it will be 15. 15, these were the full squares that we had counted there before. Then you add the 11, this is 11, then plus a half, that is the same as 11 and a half. Then your answer, you'll get 26 and a half square kilometers. So that is how we work out area of irregular shapes that are represented on the map. So let's now look at the questions that were set in relation to area. So this is map of Pambo area, which was tested in KCPE 2015. So the question was number 2, and it asked the approximate area of the game park in Pambo area is. Mark the word approximate. Mark the word approximate. So whatever you find here is approximate, because they are like, now this line is not straight, so you don't expect it to be accurate. So that's when, because we are using a straight paper. So in measuring this area, one thing I want you to note is that even if you see some bends here, don't follow them. Just put your straight paper from here. It runs all through this other point. Mark the starting and the finishing point. Write the reading. This is the width. Take a reading, or else you can take the ones on the straight line. Okay, you can still use that one. So you can take this one. That will be the length. Write it somewhere. You read this one, the length, also the width, then you write it somewhere. So that will be the length you find here. If it is 5, you write 5, that is as length. The width maybe is 3, write it 3. So that will be 5 times 3. Then you get 15 square kilometers. That will be the area of the map. So that is, this shape is a regular shape. It looks more or less over a rectangle. So we use the formula for regular shapes. Let's see another one. KCPE 2016. It was tested on Changa area. What was the question? What is the approximate area of Changa town? Changa town. Changa town is here. I've marked it in red, but how do you identify a town? There is a boundary here. Town, boundary, town, boundary. This one, that it tells us that this is now the town, and this town is Changa town. So this one, when you look at it, it looks like a rectangle. This side and this side, they are longer than this side and this side. So basically it qualifies it to be a rectangle. In social studies, we may not have, like in maths, we may not have the marks that show the 90 degrees, but this is roughly, because we are talking about approximate. So it's not accurate, it's approximate. So you do the same. Take your piece of paper. On a paper, mark the starting point, place it here, then you go all through, mark the finishing point here, make your reading somewhere. Take your reading again from the width to the starting point to the finishing point, write somewhere. When you multiply, get the answer. Now you can practice this. I've not shown you the answer because I want you to practice. Get a paper, a real KCP paper or a photocopied one, not a scanned one, so that you try using the formula that I've already explained there above. Another one, KCP 2018. KCP 28, they said about Kora town. The area covered here represents Kora area. So the question was number 2. Again, the question comes, the approximate area of Lake Kora. Approximate, it is approximate. So Lake Kora is down here. Now, what shape can we say this lake takes? This lake takes a shape. This is a shape. This side you can help us to identify which shape is this. So that is likely to be a right angle triangle. So here we'll use the formula for working out area of right angle triangle. We shall use that formula for working out area of right angle triangle. So what we can say that is how you work it out. Make sure you work it out well. So you can try that. KCPE 2019. The other one we had looked was KCPE 2018. So 2019, again, a question was set and Banda area. The approximate area of the coffee plantation in square kilometers is, when you look at it, this one, it takes the shape of a rectangle. You know, rectangulars are common. It's like the rectangles are common and the triangle. So you must be able to have the knowledge of working out area of a triangle and a rectangle. We are predicting that one to come again. So what we say, that take the measurement using a piece of paper, mark the starting point, come to the end point, go to the scale, take the reading, write it somewhere. Step 2, go to the width, take the reading using a paper, then take the reading to the map, the scale, then take the reading from the scale, write somewhere, then work the sum out. If you work it out, you'll be able to find the answer. Now, if you find the answer is not here, remember we are talking about the approximate area. You may have done a small mistake. So long as you started from 0, when you are reading the measurement, you will definitely get the answer. So even if it does not come maybe to 12, you get 11, you get 13, or you get 8. So if you get 11 or 10, just call it 12. But if you work it out, you should be able to get the answers that are here. Remember, we are talking about in this area, it is approximate area. Approximate area. Thank you. So we go to the next one. The other question was set in KCPE 2021. So meaning in 2020, there was no question about that. So the area here is SOTI. The approximate area of Lake Bao is, so Lake Bao, where is Lake Bao? It's like the other one we had seen. It's like the other one we had seen, Lake Kora, you see? And then this time round, they brought the same feature, but they took it the other side, but still is a right angle triangle. So you see, if you have the knowledge of working out area of a right angle triangle, you should not be able to get any problem in working out area of features on a map. So this one takes the shape of a right angle triangle. Take the base using a piece of paper, the reading, then go to the scale, take the reading. Come back, take the reading for the height on the paper. Then from there, you go to the scale to be able to identify what is the reading on this side. Then use the formula, a half base times height. Then you'll get your answer. You get the approximate answer, which of course is likely to be in the key. So that is all about working out areas of regular and irregular shape. So now let's talk about climate. Now in climate, what do you expect? 1, describe the general climate of the area covered by the map. Or what evidence shows that the area covered by the map is hot and dry or cool and wet? What evidence? You know, in a map, we talk of evidence. Evidence is what tells you what is taking place or what is appearing or what is being represented on the map. So here, evidence that shows that area is covered by the map is hot and dry, and then also or cool and wet. So one of these areas will be tested. Then number 3, the climate in the northeast or southeast point of the map can be described as, so the climate, you describe the climate. Now, what similarity do we have in these questions? 1, the first prediction, describe the general climate of the area. That is the whole area. Here we are talking about the whole area. When you come to the second one, the other possible question that may be set in this area, that the evidence that shows that the area covered by the map is hot and dry or cool and wet. Basically, if you look at this question, they have twisted the first one. That's the general climate of the area. And this one, in the whole map, in the area covered by the map, which evidence shows that it's hot and dry. Then we go to the third one, the climate of the part. So the climate in the northeast or southeast point of the map can be described as, so that one is taking or identifying the climate of a given part of the map. So basically there are two possible questions: climate of the whole area covered by the map, or climate of a part, a certain part of the map. Whichever the way the question will come, you need to know the evidence that shows the possibility of a given climate to be taking place in the area covered by the map. So you need to understand the climates and the evidence that shows the type of climate that is represent or set on the map. So the climate on a map can be identified as either hot and dry, or cool and wet, or hot and wet. So these are the possible climates that may be tested. So 1, evidence for hot and dry: presence of crops such as sisal, seasonal, rivers, lakes, scanty or scrub. This is vegetation, as well as presence of boreholes. So these are sisal, seasonal lakes, seasonal rivers, scanty scrub vegetation, boreholes. They depict or as an evidence that there is the climate of the area covered by the map is hot and dry. Evidence for cool and wet is presence of crops such as tea and coffee, rearing of dairy cattle is done, and the evidence of high relief. Those are the evidence of cool and wet. So where we have cool and wet, you will be able to see crops like tea and coffee. Then you will also be able to see dairy cattle. Remember, we also have ranching. Ranching appears in hot and dry. Now, the other one is hot and wet. Presence of crops such as sugarcane, rice, and cotton. These are evidence of also natural forest. Which climate is that? Hot and wet. Now, I've highlighted hot and dry and cool and wet so that you can prepare most on that, because it may be tested this year. So when you look at this, those are the evidence and the type of climates that are on the map. Now, there are questions that were set in the previous years. Let's see these questions. 2015 KCPE Pambo area. The question was number 5. The climate to the west of Pambo town can be described as. Now, we have our campus here. So this campus, north, south, east, west. They're asking the climate to the west of Pambo town can be described as. So this is that area. We say that the question that may be tested may look like like now this one, number 3, that the climate in the north, east or southeast point on a map can be described as. That is what has been done in this question 5, that the climate to the west of Pambo town can be described as west. Now, what can you say? Most of this area is dry. Yeah? Most of this area, you take this, most of this area is dry. How? The presence of scrub or scant vegetation. So when it is like that, we say it is going to be, what did we say? That it's going to be scant, that is hot and dry, because there is scrub vegetation. So that is what you expect in that area. So that is how you look at it. And then KCPE 2016, they also asked about a question from Changa area. The climate of Changa area can be described as, the climate of Changa area can be described as. So now this one is talking about the climate in Changa area, the whole area in the map. Hot and wet. Is it hot and wet? Is it cool and dry? Is it hot and dry? Is it cool and wet? Now, let us see. What evidence do we have in a map? First, we have T. We have forest. And then settlement is a clustered. It's clustered. This clustered settlement. Now let's use the crops. The crops here, the main crop here, and it takes a bigger part of the whatever, and then there are forests. So what climate is that? Let's go back to our description. We say that when there is tea, cool and wet, presence of crops such as tea and coffee, there is also cattle, dairy cattle, and the evidence of highland relief. Highland relief in this map can be shown by the river sources from here. So there's a forest, and then there is tea. So that should be cool and wet. So that is how you identify the climate of an area on a map. KCPE 2018, that question was number 3. The climate around Lita Market is likely to be the climate around Lita Market. Lita Market is here. Look at this vegetation. Get the answer of the vegetation from the key, you see? So from the key, we have the vegetation, and the vegetation is what? Scrub. Scrub, we saw that, where do we find scrub? Scrub is the evidence for scrub. This is hot and dry, hot and dry. So that was KCPE 2018, Lita Market. There is scrub. So that is hot and dry, hot and dry. Another evidence for hot and dry climate is cattle dip or ranches. When you see ranches, that is hot and dry. If you see cattle dip, there is ranching. So that is hot and dry. The scrub vegetation also is an evidence for hot and dry climate. KCPE 2019. The climate of the area around Kerry Market is likely to be, that is part of the town. So basically you can see these questions, they are related all over. If they don't ask a question about the whole area covered by the map, they'll ask part of it. So the most important thing, you need to know the evidence for that, for given type of climate. So here, we are talking of the area around Kerry Market. So Kerry Market, we have sawmill, we have a forest here. So what that one is likely to be, let's see, where we had the forest, the forest, natural forest, presence of sugarcane, rice. There is rice, cotton, evidence of natural forests. You see, then that one is hot and wet. Hot and wet. So let's see. We were at KCPE 2019, hot and wet. Why? There is a forest there. This forest is like on a hill because a source of a river. Then it's likely to be a natural forest. And therefore, we'll say that this area is hot and wet. So that is how we work out the climate of an area on a map. So let's look at this is KCP 2020. KCP 2020. The climate near the sea is likely to be, the climate experienced near the sea is likely to be. So near the sea, when you look at this map, near the sea is here. What you need to find out is the evidence. We use the evidence to identify the type of climate that is being represented on the map. So we use evidence. The evidence here can be the vegetation. One, vegetation is used to identify the kind of climate that is experienced in this area. Number two, we have the crops. Here we have the sugarcane. Sugarcane can be used as evidence, or even nearness to the sea. See, the sea is here. So we can use the crop here and the vegetation so that we can tell the climate that is being represented or that is being experienced on this area of the map. So the sugarcane being the major factor here, the sugarcane does well on hot and wet climate, hot and wet climate. So from there, you will be able to say that this area near the sea experiences which kind of climate, that is hot and wet. We have used sugarcane as evidence. So when we look at another question, KCP 2021, the climate of Bhuta is likely to be, the climate of Bhuta is likely to be. Now this is salty area, but Bhuta is down here. So this one is a question asking about the climate of a given area in the map, a given area on the map. So here, Bhuta, you realize, is down here. Now, the type of vegetation is the forest. The tea, the crop that is grown there is what? Is the tea. Tea is being used. Double T is here. Tea is grown here. So what shows, as we had already seen in our explanation on how to identify the crops, you see, using the crops as evidence, that is tea. Presence of crops such as tea and coffee, that is cool and wet, cool and wet. So let's see, we have such kind of climate here, cool and wet. So that is how you identify the crop, the climate that is being experienced in the area shown on the map. So having done that, you will have been able to identify the climate that is being experienced on the map. And you see, these questions, they just come and they repeat, and they're only like now climate. It has got two areas. They'll ask about the climate of the whole area covered in the map or part of the area covered by the map. So whichever way it is, remember that understanding and knowing the evidence that in hot and dry, what do you expect to see so that you can say there is hot and the climate experienced here is hot and dry? What do you expect to see so that you can be able to say that the area experiences hot and wet? What will you be able to see? What should we see on the map that will tell us cool and wet. So in your revision, go through these factors or characteristics of the climates. That is the hot and dry, hot and wet, cool and wet, and you'll be able to get your exams well. So we are going to the next part, that is settlement or population distribution on a map. The questions that are likely to come: state population distribution in the area given, e.g., is it sparsely or evenly or dense? Sparsely is here and there. The people or the settlement pattern, the houses are not close, they are very far. Then they are evenly spread. It is all over the map. Dense, it is concentrated in a certain area. That's when you talk of dense. Dense, that is many people living in an area. Then number two, or identify particular areas in the map where population is low or high, sparse or dense. 3, identify the type of settlement pattern in the map, e.g., linear, clustered, or nucleated. One of these questions will come in your KCPE. Now, let's move and see the settlement patterns. Now, this one is a settlement pattern. You see, it is scarce. There are few people living here. And this one is along. This is dispersed. Then this is linear, along a road or water, okay, or a facility or infrastructure. Then we have this one. This one is called nucleated. You can see it here. That's nucleated type of settlement. This is another compact settlement. You can call it cluster. It can also be called what? Cluster. So those are the settlement patterns that we have. So let's look at a question that was set in KCPE 2016, Changa area. The main settlement pattern in Changa area is, you see, these are what? These are clustered. This is clustered settlement, okay? Then we go to the next one, KCPE 2018, that is Kora area. The settlement pattern in Mambo sub-county can be described as Mambo sub-county. This one. I think you look at the boundary, sub-county boundary. Sub-county here is this one is a Mambo sub-county. So what is the settlement pattern in Mambo sub-county? It's not clustered. It is here and there. You can go back and refer to the video on the slide behind. So this is likely to be sparse. This is sparse. People are not living close together. They are living at a distance, and they don't have a definite pattern in which they are living, even if they live far. So that is sparse settlement. 2019. Which one of the following statements is true about settlement in Banda area? Settlement in Banda area. Banda area. Where's Banda area? Banda area. This is the whole map. The whole map. So what is it? Most people are found near the river. Now, the key point, the key word is true. It means 3 are false, 1 is true. So let's see. Most settlements are found near the river. There is nobody living near the river, so that is false. The settlements are scattered. Of course, this area people are scattered. Let's see another one. The settlements are, most settlements are in Banda town. Banda town, of course. And then we have the settlements. The settlements are found along the railway. There is nobody. There are very few people along the railway. So already by elimination, A and D are wrong. Now, the settlements are scattered. Here they are scattered. Here they are not scattered. They are not scattered. Most settlements are in Banda town. Correct. So this one we can say that is the best answer for this question, because here they are not scattered and there are more people than in other areas. These ones are here and there. So that is the best answer for that. So the next video will be about economic activities, social services, and local authority. Until you come back, feel free to subscribe to this channel so that when I post another video, you can be able to get a notification as we prepare for KCPE 2023. Thank you. Goodbye.